You can have different properties in Dubai. Same price, same size, same developer quality, and one doubles in value in 18 months. The other sits empty for a year with no tenants and no buyers. The only difference is the location. And that's the problem most investors don't see coming. They assume Dubai property works everywhere, that every area is benefiting from the boom. But some neighborhoods are trapping investors right now. Your capital gets locked up for 3 to 4 years with no appreciation. And when you desperately need to exit, there aren't enough buyers to save you. So, in this video I'm breaking down the worst areas to avoid and why they're failing investors right now. The best areas where demand is actually strong and returns are real, and how to spot warning signs before you commit a single dirham. Would you invest $500,000 in an area with almost no transactions? Because some investors are doing exactly that, and they don't realize it until they need to sell. Location in Dubai isn't just important, it determines everything. Pick the wrong area and your purchase could have your money stuck for years, while you keep paying installments with no way out. Your completed property could sit vacant for 12 months because your surrounding area isn't developed yet, and you're paying service charges every month with zero rental income coming in. And when you need to liquidate fast, you can't find a buyer because there's no demand in that location. At House of Orange, we help investors make data-backed decisions across Dubai every single day. So in this video I'm showing you the worst areas to avoid and why they're failing investors right now, the best areas where demand is actually strong and returns are real, and how to spot warning signs before you commit a single dirham. Before we get into the best and worst areas for 2026, there's something I need to clear up first. It's one of the main reasons investors end up confused about the market, and it's the mistake that shows up every single year in Dubai. What most people get wrong is they think Dubai is one big market. People assume every area appreciates at the same rate, every building rents the same, and every off-plan project is automatically a good deal just because it's Dubai. Let me give you a real example. I had a client about a year ago. They wanted to buy a off-plan property, a studio, to get a good rental yield. So I suggested them a few developers. The main thing was with those developers, they didn't have a 1% payment plan, and they really needed a 1% payment plan. So I told them, hey, don't go for a 1% payment plan because these developers in the market that give a 1% payment plan aren't necessarily good developers or big developers. They're just trying to make a lot of money by making the payment plan as attractive as possible. And they didn't listen. They went ahead with a different broker. I said, okay, good luck. And about 3 months later, they gave me a call and said, hey, I want to sell this property as soon as possible. And to this day, the property is still getting late penalty fees because they didn't buy from a reputable developer. Dubai is a city of micro markets. You have zones that explode with demand the moment a new master community launches, and other zones where buildings sit empty for 12 months because the surrounding area isn't developed yet. Some areas appear premium due to marketing, but they offer low yields and slow appreciation. Others look boring on the surface, yet they quietly outperform because they have high-end user demand, schools, hospitals, retails, and growing infrastructure. So I'm gonna give you guys some advice. Before you even look at the best or worst areas, check 4 things. Is the area inside a major master community? Is the developer proven with completed projects? Is supply growing faster than the demand? And are rental transactions actually happening? These 4 filters will set the tone for the rest of this video. Now that we've cleared that up, let's break down the worst areas to invest. Areas with high oversupply and weak demand. What most people get wrong is they think new automatically means good. Investors rush into fresh off-plan communities simply because marketing looks premium. There's a townhouse community in Dubai land, which isn't growing. There's no tenants, there's no capital appreciation, and the reasons why is because the developer isn't that well known, the quality isn't good, and there's not much amenities. The location is alright, but if your community doesn't have good amenities, good quality, nobody's wanna rent there. And that's one of the reasons why you should do your research before buying into a developer. There's long vacancy periods, low rental demand, difficulty selling units, slow price growth compared to established zones. So if you buy an off-plan in one of these oversupplied areas, you might get stuck with 3 to 4 years in payments, only to take possession of a unit that nobody wants to rent. So my advice is look at projected handover volumes for the next 24 to 36 months. If more than 34 to 40% of stock in that area is due at once, skip it until absorption improves. Now, I spent hours reviewing the market data for this video. If you want early access to the deals we're seeing, the ones that actually pass the safety checks, just click the link below. On to the next part. Remote standalone buildings with no community. What most people get wrong is they see beautiful buildings and forgot to ask, but what's around it? Let me give you a story. There is a building from a very reputable developer. They're very well known in the market for their quality. And the main thing is about this building, it's very beautiful. Like it has like 5 towers and it has like a lot of amenities. But the thing is the surrounding area has nothing. There's an industrial area next to it. There's sand on the other side. There's literally nothing. And the main issue is when that building is going to be handed over, nobody's gonna rent there. You know why? Because there is no community. So a single tower built in isolation, where there's no community, no retail, no schools, no transport, is a recipe for long vacancies. These buildings attract speculators, not end users. End users want convenience. If infrastructure arrives late, you're going to be left with a finished building in a half-developed area. This is where investors often lose an entire year of rental income. Plus, they still have to pay service charges. So, my advice is never buy in an area where the building is the first thing to be built. Look for facilities. Supermarket, schools, medical facilities, road access, at least 2 to 3 completed phases that actually already handed over. If these don't exist, it's too early. Let's get down to areas with low transaction volume, what most people get wrong. They think cheap means good value. Let me give you an example. When a building is cheap, either it's from a developer that isn't well known, or the project is located far away in an area that still needs to be developed. When you invest in an area that still needs to be developed and it's far away, the transaction volume is going to be very low. I mean, when you buy off-plan and your buildings is one of the first buildings that's going to be handed over in that area, there's going to be low transaction because there are no facilities around. And some neighborhoods have very low sales activity. So not enough people are buying and selling in these areas. So low transactions is difficulty reselling fast. Lower valuations, weak capital appreciation, higher risk during market slowdowns. And when liquidity is low, even a good property becomes hard to exit. So my advice is check the past 6 months of transactions on DXB Interact or Property Monitor. If the area shows low liquidity, avoid it unless you're okay with holding long-term with no exit flexibility. So let's shift gears because there are still areas with incredible and strong demand, infrastructure and long-term appreciation that are moving on the right direction. Let's talk about the best areas to invest. Establish master communities with high-end user demand. What most people get wrong is they chase hype instead of looking at where people actually want to live. Let me give you an example. Some areas that are actually very hyped right now, such as Dubai Island or Maritime City and Dubai South. The main thing is it's very hyped off plan. I mean, I get it. It has a lot of future potential. But if you are making an investment based on ROI and you actually want a steady and guaranteed rental yield, buy in established communities such as Dubai Creek Harbor or downtown, Palm Jumeirah, Dubai Marina, because these areas already exist and that's where you can make solid ROI. And if you want to speculate on the market, you can invest in those areas such as Dubai Maritime City or Dubai Island or Dubai South because they move with the plan of the government. So that's my advice on what you should do. Invest in communities with schools, retail, parks, hospitals, multiple completed phases that tend to perform consistently. End users drive the price stability and long-term appreciation, not speculators. When end users are lined up to live in a community, don't worry about vacancy. My advice is choose developments inside a master community, like Imar master communities or Makil master communities. Let's get to the next point. Areas with strong rental demand and limited supply. Most people get it wrong. They look at yields on the brochures, not actual occupancy. So let me give you some examples of areas that are actually good to rent out. Meydan or Azizi Rivera or Shobo Heartland, for example, right? They're all in Meydan, Mohammed bin Rashid City. And the thing that makes this a good investment is the location. Location is one of the most important things when it comes down to investing. A lot of people work in Business Bay or DIFC or downtown, and they want to live somewhere close by. They need to find something affordable that's not too expensive, and of course the type of units need to be right, like studios, 1 bedrooms, because these type of expats need something that actually fits their need. And that's why Meydan, Shobo Heartland and Azizi Rivera is perfect for these type of tenants, and that's why the occupancy rate is very high in these areas. Personally, I also live in Shobo Heartland, and my building has 98% occupancy. The best performing areas are the ones where rental demand is high and supply growth is controlled. They also give you more stable valuations and higher resale liquidity. My advice is to look for areas with 80 to 90% occupancy, steady absorption and limited new handovers. So let's get to the next point. Well-positioned projects inside a proven master community. What most people get wrong is they think all off-plan is a good off-plan project, but that's not true. Let me give an example. Let's say we take an off-plan in GVT versus a off-plan in, let's say, Greek Harbor. The main difference is the community. I mean, in GVT you can get a cheaper 2-bedroom apartment, and for the same price you can get a 1-bedroom in Greek Harbor. But the point I'm trying to make is that you should invest in the right community. The right community makes the right investment. When we take a look at GVT, it's kind of a mess. There's different types of developers, and there's a villa community over there as well. And there's a mall that, I don't know, still needs to be handed over. They told me like 2 years ago that the mall was going to be handed over. The point I'm trying to make is you should buy in the right community. Let's say you buy 2 million dirham 2-bedroom apartment in GVT versus a 1-bedroom in Greek Harbor. Get the 1-bedroom in Greek Harbor because it's a master community from a reputable developer, and the whole area is developed by one developer, which is Imar. Off-plan in a strong community is powerful. You can lock in at a low entry price and let appreciate run during the construction and exit strongly at handover, but only if the developer is reputable and that area has real demand, such as Recarber. So my advice is check developer history, past delivery times, and comparable buildings that they've completed, and only buy off-plan from developers with a proven track record. Now, it's one thing to know which areas are good. The other thing is to get access to the early stage deals before the public does. That's why we share exclusive opportunities to our clients, and if you want to be one of them, you can click the link below. Now, the perfect location doesn't matter if you make one of the 7 mistakes foreigners make every single year in Dubai. Watch the next video where I break down the 7 mistakes that cost foreigner millions in Dubai real estate to make sure you're protecting your money properly.